Okay, good evening, everybody. Everybody way in the back. Go ahead and do roll call. See Ryan Miller, that's me. Kyle Maraskin.
Here.
Marianne Atkinson.
Here.
Kenneth Haynes.
Here.
Christy Kennard couldn't join us tonight. Dolores Martin.
Here.
And William Richardson. Excellent. If I can stand for the pledge, please.
The republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas
Honor the
flag.
Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
Thank you. Any comment cards? Nope. Okay. So we have two items on our consent agenda tonight, approving the preliminary plat for Valencia Section 14 and approve the meeting minutes to date. Did anybody have any objections or want to pull anything out from there? No? Any motions then?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second, all in favor? And that carries unanimously, 6-0. Regular agenda item A, consideration and possible action to approve the final plat for Foxtail Palms. Who'd like to tell us all about that one?
Okay. Can you hear me? Yes? So Fox and Palms is,
We can't hear you. Where's the microphone?
Drop it down some. Yeah,
can you hear me right now?
a little bit better.
Okay. Fox and Palms is a proposed residential subdivision located within the single-family residential zoning district on the west side of 288, north of Manvel Town Center, and southern side of Rodeo Palms Parkway. Proposed development subdivides about 81 acres tract into 227 residential lots. 2.27 acres of that has been dedicated as parkland. Proposed final plat was previously approved by the Planning Development Zoning Commission in August 2024. Applicant has submitted this revised plat due to a shift in the Rodeo Drive right-of-way about 60 feet to the south. Staff recommends conditional approval of this final plat, and the condition is provide a tax certificate that covers entire acreage of the proposed final plat.
Okay, thank you very much. Who has questions?
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
Tax certificate, isn't that something they have to do before they do all that?
They provide a tax certificate, but after reviewing that, the tax certificate doesn't cover entire property.
So it's
So
just,
we talked with the
Yeah, looking at
applicant
that,
and they're
they don't
working
yeah,
on it.
the acreages just
Because
don't
there
match.
is a right of way amended before, and it's not included to the tax certificate that they provided.
Okay. So is that something then that they have to go back to the county to fix, or? is
Yes.
that- And then they
Yes.
have to resubmit it back to you guys, or, well, then
They need to
let you guys see
provide,
it.
yes, they need to provide that revised tax certificate to mark up the condition.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve with the one condition.
Second.
Okay, and all those in favor? And motion carries unanimously, 6-0. Excellent. Okay, agenda item B, consideration of possible action to approve final plat of Valencia Lake H.
This subject site is a proposed detention facility within the Valencia development located along the western side of Chocolate Bayou. Proposed plat subdivides 7.6 acres of land into one reserve for landscaping, lake detention, and amenity. Proposed plat generally conforms to the approved preliminary plat. City staff recommends approval of the Valencia Lake H final plat with several conditions. Most of them is regarding signatures and blank spaces. There are some missing right-of-way labels. They need to provide revised CPL. They need to revise the setback line, provide a letter of no objections from utility companies, but the most important item is item number 13, which is the proposed plat gains access from unplatted sections. Either they need to provide temporary access easement, or the approval of this Valencia Lake H final plat will be contingent on the approval of the final plat of the specific section providing access.
Okay. So total of 15 conditions then? Okay. Who has questions? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, first, this is to Bobby. Bobby, with all of these conditions that are on here, is there some way that we can deny this and have them resubmit it correctly? Because this is outrageous on how many conditions that the staff had to go through and figure out for signature blocks. When I pulled this up Friday, I was like, you're kidding me, right? This is ridiculous. It's taken time, and how long has Valencia been submitting these items to them that they know they have certain things they have to do? So is that something that could be done if we were to deny the whole thing? They'd have to fix it and bring it back and resubmit their,
Well, with all of these, you always have three options: approve, deny, or approve with conditions. Today, the staff recommendation is to go ahead and approve with conditions, seeming that most of them, except for one, I guess, are really minor. And that's typical. You can always not take the staff's recommendation. You can always approve it without any conditions, or you could just simply deny it. And you know how we do the denial? We like to do it where it's all in a positive motion, so if it fails, it's failed and there's no question. It's been a while since we've had one of those, so I thought I'd throw that in there.
right, yeah. So as looking at this with you guys, I feel this almost was a waste of our city staff's time to go through continually and do the same thing over and over. I don't get why they keep submitting the stuff and it's the same thing. I mean, I realize 13 is huge and they should have known that, but the little ones like the signatures and the blocks and stuff like that, it just seems like every time Valencia comes to the table, it's more and more of the same trivial stuff that these guys, that they're making the staff go through for, I think, no reason, a waste of time. But that's just me.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd like to hear
I
y'all's
agree.
opinion on that.
I would agree with you, Mary, because I was going to make the same comments because it's, it's one thing to have one or two, three comments, but when you come in here with this many comments, to me, it appears that they're using the staff to find all their errors where they should be doing the quality control check themselves. You got to find some. Some might slip through, but not this many.
Either way, they've got to check all these things again.
Yeah.
On that note, I wonder how many more before this that they've already caught that have been corrected and then not come through. Because we've had that before, to where we had 30 or 40 beforehand. By the time it got to us, it was 10.
Jeez.
So, but my other thing is, and I don't know if this is a Bobby or Dan or who question, but is there a point that we say that we can't take more than 10 before it even comes to us or whatever? Or do we even limit that? Is it worth it?
It's the same process, whether they have one
yeah.
or 100. It's really
So that's
the
why I
same
was wondering
process,
if it's
but,
even
yeah.
worth the headache to.
I mean, and I'm sure staff, if they're able to, can maybe have a discussion. So we have a lot of meetings with developers, can maybe alert them to some things, but there's really no obligation to do so. It's a strict, they submit their application or submit what they're going to submit. Staff does what they do through the process, but.
So let me ask this question. So if we deny it tonight, what will be their response, or what will be their actions to get it submitted back in?
Just for your information, I reached out to the applicant to please at least cover these minor issues, and they said that go ahead and pull all the items in the agenda, and we are going to submit that again If you say denial, they need to resubmit it. But if you say conditional approval, they only need to address these items.
I mean, either way, they have to fix it before.
Yeah, they got to fix it, but we have to have some kind of mechanism to stop them
that
from
would-
doing this.
Don't
That would
they
be-
have
Where the
to-
conditions
Well,
come in.
that would be a city staff process, when they get to, they need to pick an arbitrary number and, 10 or 15, and that's when they need to write their report and say, they have an excessive number of errors, we recommend denial because they have too many things here to address.
If they have to resubmit, they have to pay again, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
let's keep making them pay if they're going to keep using our staff to find their mistakes. That's my opinion.
The only question I have is how much effort on the staff's part, if we deny it, how much more, is it more work for you if we deny it than saying we pass it with recommendations of approval?
No,
So it's the same?
it's same.
So then if we denied it, then you're right, then it would be just penalizing them. As long as it doesn't, my concern was, I don't want to put more work on you all.
Yeah, that was my other thing, because if we deny it, does it go back to stage one through the whole process?
I can add to that. In terms of a process, yes, it goes back to the submittal calendar, the next submittal window, they'll submit the whole thing again. We have to do the whole review one more time.
But they have 15 days to
But they
deny
have to pay
something.
for it
which
again.
means correct it.
But
That's why we have the
it'd be a
written
No,
lesson
they'll have
well
to pay for
learned.
it, but.
Right.
have a timeline to
But,
be.
yeah.
Maybe, maybe not.
It's not a going.
Depends on how much they care.
Another original submittal, it's a
Yeah.
response.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they can submit a response, actually. And I think that's a 15 days
Still has to do the
window.
work with that.
Yeah.
So
I stand corrected.
what Joe's is saying over here is that, so they have 15 days, even if it's denied, to
Make a response.
make a response.
They don't go back through the process again. If that's what you're thinking, Marianne, they don't resubmit and have another original start from scratch submittal.
Yeah.
That's what they don't do. That would be that's not what happens by law. And that's why if you look on number C or letter C on your agenda, if we deny it, we have to provide them the reasons why. And by law, they have the ability within 15 days to resubmit a corrected version of that.
So if we
Okay.
said we denied it because of the excess of things that they had to correct that they did not, that's our viable denial, correct?
Right. And same with the condition for approval, they still have to correct it. So
And
it's,
the
But if
only.
they don't correct it in 15 days,
Yes.
then what happens?
That's their problem.
Then they have to start the process over?
then I think they have to start the process over.
All right.
If they don't correct it.
Well, it took them this long to have our staff tell them they had that many
Is it
problems.
15?
Yeah, so-
No, I think 15 days to submit it, but not get a ruling yet or something. Do you remember?
Even the ruling-
Ellie, do you remember what happens with when they want to do a correction?
Okay, sorry. They can resubmit it on the resubmittal date. There is no, I haven't seen any kind of date that it says they need to have
Yeah.
in these days, but there is a resubmittal date that we don't provide any plat review reports to them. After that, we go ahead and put it in the agenda. There is no.
Yeah, that is correct. Based on the state statute, they do not have a time limit.
Yeah.
They can bring it back whenever, but they have to bring it back on a specific date that we have on our calendar, which are the resubmittal days every month. And from that day, we have within 15 days, we'll have a PD&Z meeting where we'll present it, and then you all take action on that.
Sounds like more work. Oh.
So what happens if they have to resubmit it after those 15 days, do we charge them for it? Do we do anything like that?
There are certain things that I'm not 100% sure memory-wise. Do we have a resubmittal fee which is different from an initial submittal fee? Not for the,
For the resubmittals, as I remember, yes, they need to pay again.
okay. Yeah, so there's a fees involved.
But I can double check it.
That's my concern, is this is a lot. For something that they've already done a billion times through here, they know what they have to do. But for them to just say, oh, y'all do it and tell us what the problems are is where I got a problem with
So we
it.
could set if we wanted to set a precedence and say,
They don't.
after,
They don't.
you know,
That's the
there were so many,
No.
15 is way in excess that we have to deny it. and
Yeah, I was about to say,
deny it.
that would be more of a city process thing. If
Say
yeah,
only 10 and then, or whatever. And
yeah, I mean, if,
Well, I
Yeah, and if
But we
I,
could set it.
we
if,
need to deny it to show them they cannot keep doing this, because they will.
I mean, that was my thought.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts.
Well, and any other company that is doing
I mean, y'all,
this too.
yeah, I mean, y'all can, vote for anything you like on this one, but as far as the process, if the city decides, staff and Dan, they decide that, they're spending too much time on this and that, if that, once they find 15 things, they're gonna just
Give it
finish
back.
their report, submit it to us and say they recommend denial because there was an excessive number of errors.
That's perfectly fine.
That's just a process they need to implement if they think it's a problem, so.
It's fine.
Well, how do y'all feel about that? I mean, is that,
well, since staff's recommendation is approval with condition, I believe our position is that the comments are such that it can be handled as a conditional approval. And again, I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but let me check with Ellie. So correct me if I'm wrong, the difference between a conditional approval and a denial would be the conditional approval gets administratively approved,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
So if it is conditionally approved, the comments would be addressed administratively. We'll check and we won't be preparing a packet for you for the next meeting. But if it is denied, whenever they respond with a response submittal, it comes back on the agenda for y'all to review and approve or conditionally approve or deny.
they would have to fix the mistakes again before it came to us, correct?
Yes.
I mean, that would be the right thing to do, right?
they've
Not-
got to fix them before this goes through anyway.
Not necessarily, I mean, it could
Yes.
come here exactly the same and, hoping
Yes.
for conditional approvals.
One thing on this, it's saying the city staff recommends denial of this proposed plat.
Conditional approvals or
It doesn't say anything about,
staff, or is it still good?
addressing-
Authority has to.
does not, it says it doesn't address.
100% sure because.
So I'm not seeing where the staff is saying denial with provisions. I'm just seeing that the city staff recommends denial of the proposal plat.
Page one of the.
Page one of five?
Says approve with.
Page one of the report.
Okay.
I know what you're
I'm
saying.
reading,
That's what
I'm
I
reading
saw
the staff
first.
recommendation
Yeah,
part.
see, that's what I saw
Oh,
first
Condition with
too.
approval.
So we know at least if we deny it tonight, we're sending a message to that vendor that they need to get their stuff together.
And I
And they could have a possible delay. Now, if they submit all the information within 15 days, hey, then they can move on, but they still have
But
been
they got the
warned.
message.
They got the message that they need to get. And I'm hoping that you all are relaying that message. We're doing your jobs.
And we're not going to play this game.
Okay, and the way it works is they actually have an unlimited time to make a response, but when we get the response, we have to give them an answer back in 15 days. They could wait a year and come back and respond to a denial or the conditions, and then the municipal authority has to rule on that, and I don't know if we've delegated it to staff or not. We'll have to look into that.
see, I still have.
Okay, so we've got,
You're not going to teach a developer anything.
no. So
Sorry.
we've got three choices here, so, excuse me. So, who would like to make a motion?
I make the motion that we deny it.
Or a motion to approve with conditions?
So yours is different.
Yeah.
Dolores, just as a quick side teaching point, we ran into some issues, or there's potential issues, that if you vote to deny and it doesn't get 4 votes, what happens to it? It's not approved. We've had people think, well, the vote to deny wasn't approved.
It says
So what happens is, and this comes from John Hightower and Bill Olson, and Robert's Rules of Order prefers a positive motion. And remember, if you make a motion or if you make a second, you don't have to vote for it. You just get it on the table in front. So what we suggest is you make a motion in a table to approve it and then vote against it, because that way there's no question whether it fails or not.
Yeah, it does. It's a positive, negative.
Wait, I have a
It's a
question
positive
before we
negative. I hate
go,
putting it that way,
before we
but-
make a motion. Friday, when I looked at it, what William has up here is what I saw. It said no. And today, it's got conditional approval.
Which page has denial?
Page one.
Page one.
Of
well,
five.
Of five. See,
See,
and
I
that's
thought
what I
so, too.
saw. See, and that's what I saw Friday.
I'm
That's
pushing
why I got
myself
so
because of today. I
upset that they
relooked at
did
it.
that to y'all.
See, and I've got it up right now, and it
And
says
now,
no.
here it says conditional approval.
Scroll to the top.
Because I looked at mine Friday.
Yeah.
Go ahead and go all the way
I
to the
looked at it
top.
Friday.
Or just this top.
Yeah, just.
See, Friday, it said no.
Page one?
It was on page one.
So
It was on your
for-
report deal.
for clarification, the files that we provided for putting an agenda, it was wrong. It wasn't correct. So because of that, we revised it today.
Okay, so it's just been updated.
Okay, 'cause see, and that's why I got so upset.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so,
And I checked the fee schedule. The cost for plat resubmittal is $200.
okay. Thank you. Okay, so the motion is, at the moment, is approval with all conditions. And do we have a second?
Second.
And all those in favor? All those opposed? The motion fails 6-0, or 0-6, rather. I made the motion, yes, ma'am. Okay. Final two items. Consideration possible action to direct staff to provide applicants written statements of the conditions for any conditional approvals and the reasons for disapproval of any plans or plats that were not approved per Texas Local Government Code 212.0091. I have a motion to approve and second.
Motion to approve. Or second.
Okay, and all those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. And final one, a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
And all those in favor? And carries 6-0 as well. Excellent, thank you.